Okay, so imagine this. What if I told you there was this one idea, really audacious, captured in just 9 pages, that could completely change how we think about money?
Right.
It sort of appeared out of nowhere, digitally speaking, but
Yeah.
now, well, now its effects are everywhere. Global finance, individuals, you name it.
And the really wild thing is, it doesn't belong to anyone specific.
Yeah.
Yet somehow it belongs to all of us.
Ah,
It doesn't ask permission from, governments or big banks. It just is. It runs on its own rules.
exactly. So today, that's what we're diving into. The story of Bitcoin. It was this quiet revolution, really, born from the ashes of that huge financial crisis, and it's just grown and grown into something that, frankly, challenges the whole global economy.
Hmm.
So for you listening, our goal here is to unpack where it came from, how it evolved, often unexpectedly, and what it all means. We want to help you trace that journey from a mysterious white paper to this global force you just can't ignore anymore.
Yeah, it's quite a story.
So let's rewind. Think back to 2008. The world was, it was gripped by this massive financial meltdown, utter chaos.
Oh, yeah. Banks were collapsing left and right.
Governments stepping in, bailing out huge corporations, and millions of ordinary people losing homes, jobs. Any sense of financial security was just gone for so many.
Yeah, trust in the system was at an all-time low, which is key context.
Definitely, because right in the middle of all that chaos, this figure, or maybe a group, we still don't know, calling themselves Satoshi Nakamoto pops up.
On this, obscure online forum.
Right, and this person, or persons, whose real identity is still one of the biggest mysteries in tech,
Still is, yeah.
they published this white paper, just 9 pages, titled Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system.
Simple title, profound idea.
What always gets me is just how bold and simple that original concept was. How do you even boil down something so revolutionary into 9 pages?
Well, the core idea was basically, let's create digital money that doesn't need banks.
Yeah, no middlemen at all. No company pushing it, no marketing budget, just the idea itself.
Pure concept. So it's important to get straight what Bitcoin isn't. It's not a company.
Yeah.
There's no CEO to call, no headquarters building you can go visit, none of that traditional structure.
Right. But what it is, and this is where the power lies, it's open source software. Anyone can look at the code.
Completely transparent, which builds trust,
Yeah.
right? Without needing a central authority.
Exactly. It's also this massive global network. Thousands of computers all working together, maintaining this shared public record.
And it's a protocol,
Yeah.
like a set of strict rules that everyone on the network agrees to follow for every single transaction.
So you end up with this digital decentralized money. That word decentralized gets used a lot. What does it really mean for someone used to, just using their banks?
With a huge shift.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, it means no single point of control. No bank can just decide to freeze your account.
No government can easily block your transactions.
Exactly. It's person-to-person, peer-to-peer, secured by the network itself, not by some intermediary giving permission.
That's the permissionless part people talk about.
That's it. Freedom to transact without asking approval.
And the engine driving all this, the tech underneath, is the blockchain. People hear public ledger, but it sounds kind of dry. What makes it so revolutionary, especially when you think about corruption or manipulation in traditional systems?
Yeah, public ledger doesn't quite capture it. It's really a new way to build trust. For centuries, we trusted institutions, right? Banks, governments.
Sure.
Bitcoin flips that. Trust is baked into the code. Each new batch of transactions, a block, is locked to the previous one with cryptography,
Creating a chain.
an unbroken chain. And changing anything in the past, like an old transaction, it's designed to be practically impossible without redoing all the work that came after it, which needs this insane amount of computing power from the whole network.
So it's verifiable by anyone. You don't need to trust a specific entity.
Precisely. Trust is distributed, verifiable. That's the breakthrough.
Okay, so a key date then, January 3rd, 2009. That's when Satoshi mined the first block, the Genesis block.
And inside that block, Satoshi embedded something really interesting. Not just data, but a message, a headline from the UK Times newspaper from that exact day. The Times, 03 Jan 2009, Chancellor on brink of second bailout for banks.
Wow. So not subtle.
Not subtle at all. A
Right.
direct commentary, right? A criticism of the system Bitcoin was designed to be an alternative to.
But for a while, it was just
Yeah.
out there, a digital ghost almost. Nobody really paid attention at first.
Yeah, it had zero monetary value initially,
Yeah.
just an experiment among a few cryptographers.
Until 2010, that famous story.
Ah, the pizzas. Yes. The first real-world purchase using Bitcoin. A programmer in Florida, Laszlo Heinetz, paid 10,000 bitcoins for 2 pizzas.
10,000 bitcoins for 2 pizzas. It's almost comical now thinking about what 10,000 bitcoins are worth today.
Hundreds of millions, yeah.
It just shows how unpredictable this whole thing has been. But that pizza purchase, as small as it seems, was the moment it became something more than just code. It was the
A
start.
proof of concept, really.
Now, in those very early days, Bitcoin got a bit of a reputation, didn't it? Tied to the darker side of the internet.
Yeah, inevitably. Platforms like Silk Road, operating on the dark web, adopted it because it offered a degree of privacy and wasn't controlled by banks.
So, understandably, a lot of the early headlines linked Bitcoin with crime.
It was an easy narrative.
Mm.
But that wasn't the whole story, even then. Slowly, things started shifting.
How so?
Well, you had tech enthusiasts, developers, starting to see the potential beyond illicit use. They began building tools, wallets, exchanges,
Businesses started dipping their toes in, accepting it cautiously.
and then gradually, serious investors began looking at it. Not just curious tech people, but actual finance professionals.
And that question, which started in those obscure forums.
Is Bitcoin the future of money?
Exactly. That question started hitting the mainstream. People started asking, what is this thing, really?
And to answer that, you really have to look past the price, past the speculation. You need to understand the philosophy behind it.
What does Bitcoin stand for?
Fundamentally, it's about financial freedom. It's about censorship resistance. The idea that no one can stop you from sending or receiving value.
Decentralized trust, like we talked about.
Yes. And, crucially, protection against inflation. That's a big one for many people.
That inflation point feels key. Bitcoin isn't controlled by a government that can just decide to print more of it whenever they want.
Correct. Central banks can inflate their currency supply. With Bitcoin, that's impossible by design.
Which brings us to scarcity.
The absolute scarcity. There will only ever be 21 million Bitcoins. Ever. Full stop.
No more, no less. That limit is hard-coded into the protocol.
It's a programmatic scarcity. Unchangeable. And that's a direct contrast to fiat currencies. This scarcity is a huge part of its value proposition. People call it digital gold.
Digital gold. But you can send it across the world in minutes.
Exactly. More portable, more divisible, and, importantly, programmable. You can build things on top of it.
That programmable part is interesting. Some argue gold is a better store of value because Bitcoin's price is so wild, but programmability adds a different dimension, doesn't it?
It does. The volatility is a real challenge, no doubt. Gold is less volatile, but gold just sits there. Bitcoin, being software, allows for innovation. You can build financial services, smart contracts, layer 2 solutions like the Lightning Network for faster payments. Things you just can't do with a lump of gold.
So it's not just storing value, it's potentially a platform for new kinds of value.
That's the potential, yes. A future value that gold doesn't have.
Okay, let's jump to today. We're in 2025. Bitcoin isn't some fringe internet thing anymore. It's global.
Undeniably. I mean, look at the examples. El Salvador made it legal tender. That was huge.
Major corporations like Tesla, MicroStrategy, putting billions of dollars of Bitcoin on their balance sheets, that signals something.
Absolutely. It's gone from niche to institutional interest.
And for millions of regular people, it's become practical. They use it for savings, especially in countries with high inflation.
Or for sending money home across borders. Remittances can be expensive through traditional channels. Bitcoin can sometimes be cheaper and faster.
You see Bitcoin ATMs now in cities, debit cards linked to crypto accounts. People are actually trying to live on it in some cases.
Tangible stuff. It's integrated into the real world in ways that seemed far-fetched just a few years ago.
Now the price still goes on those crazy roller coaster rides. That always makes headlines.
Always. But love it or hate it, you can't ignore it anymore. It's part of the financial conversation, part of the political conversation.
But let's be real, it's not perfect. There are definitely criticisms, valid ones.
Oh, for sure. It's not a silver bullet. The energy consumption debate is a big one. The proof-of-work mining process uses a lot of electricity.
People talk about its speed, too, or lack thereof, for everyday transactions compared to something like Visa, and that volatility we mentioned.
Right. Critics have lined up. Some still call it a bubble waiting to pop. Others say it's primarily used for speculation, not payments. Some even call it a scam, though that's harder to justify now given its longevity and adoption.
And what about the establishment? Governments, central banks, they seem nervous.
Nervous, threatened, unsure how to regulate it. It challenges their control over money, fundamentally. So you see a whole spectrum of reactions, from outright bans to attempts to integrate or regulate it.
So it feels like the world is still trying to figure out what to make of Bitcoin, where it fits.
Definitely. It's very much a work in progress.
Yeah.
Still evolving, still being debated.
Which leaves us, and you listening, with some pretty big questions, right?
Huge questions. Will Bitcoin actually replace the dollar someday?
Hmm.
Probably not entirely, but could it become a global reserve asset alongside it?
Will it fundamentally change our whole concept of money and value? Or is it just a very interesting, very volatile blip in financial history?
We don't know the answers yet.
But one thing seems clear. Bitcoin kicked open a door. It showed a world where value can move without asking for permission.
That idea that trust can be embedded in code rather than relying solely on politicians or bankers,
Yeah.
that idea is out there now. You can't really put that genie back in the bottle. It can't be undone.
So when we boil it all down, Bitcoin is more than just code, more than just an asset you can trade. It feels like it's become a symbol.
I think so. A symbol of, well, for some, hope for a different kind of financial system. For others, a symbol of disruption, of challenging the old ways.
Maybe a symbol of a future where individuals have more control over their own economic lives.
Potentially. That's the promise, or at least part of the philosophy.
So whether you're fascinated by it, skeptical of it, maybe still trying to wrap your head around it, one thing feels undeniable. Bitcoin has already made history. It's changed the conversation.
It absolutely has. And its next chapter that's being written
Good.
right now as we speak, it invites all of us, really, to keep watching, keep learning, and maybe even get involved in shaping what comes next.